Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video. So in today's video we're going to be cooking OHA soup. If you don't know, OHA soup is a popular dish in the eastern part of Nigeria. I'm going to be showing you guys how to cook OHA soup the Anambra way. This is how my mom makes OHA soup and it's always the best the best ever. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to cook OHA soup from scratch to finish. If this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. For my OGs, you know how we do it. We're about to throw down another dish. Yeah guys, so please subscribe if you haven't subscribed to this point, turn on your post notification and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and leave a comment in the comment section for me if you have any questions pertaining this recipe. Okay, so guys, I'm going to show you guys the ingredients I'm going to be using to make this OHA soup. Okay, so these are all the ingredients we'll be using to make OHA soup. Here I have my proteins. I'm using beef. I'm also using bonnet. I'm using cow hide as well. We call this assorted, part of the assorted, one of them. I'm using this as well. These are the proteins I'm using, and also I'm also going to be using stockfish head. You also be needing dry fish as well. Yeah, so another ingredient you'll be needing is we're going to be using cocoyam as well for this dish. We are also going to be using the OHA leaves. This is the OHA leaves, and also your Uziza leaves. You're going to be using your Uziza leaves as well. You're also going to be needing some pepper. I'm using the yellow pepper. This is also called Ose Nsukka pepper. It's a yellow local pepper, and also some red peppers. So we're also going to be needing our Ogili, that's a smelly one, and also your knorr cubes or stock cubes as well. Yeah, I'm going to be showing you the rest of the ingredients when I'm adding them in the pot, because I don't have crayfish here, and you're going to be needing some crayfish as well for this dish. Okay, so let's get to cooking. So guys, that's all the ingredients you're going to be using to make OHA soup. There's no crayfish here. I'm going to add the crayfish much later, but this is basically it. Firstly, I'm going to put my cocoyam on fire. I'm just going to add it in the pot, add some salt, and cook that until it's well cooked. While that is cooking, I'm going to wash my stockfish and dried fish with hot water and salt as well. And I'm also going to put my meat on fire. This particular part of the meat takes a lot of time to cook, so I'm going to be using a pressure cooker to cook that for about 30 minutes before I add my bonnet and my cow meat in there to cook as well. So while that is cooking, I'm going to prep the rest of the ingredients and get ready to finish the cooking process.
So I'm going to quickly wash my cocoyam, wash that thoroughly, wash about 3 times, then add fresh water to it and put that on fire to cook. I'm going to be adding salt to this so it can cook faster.
I was taught growing up that when you're picking your OHA leaves, you don't just pull it from the stem like this. You're supposed to remove this part. This is how to peel your OHA leaf. Make sure you take out that stem. Don't mind my nails. Make sure you take out this stem part of the OHA leaf before you drop it. So this is how my mom taught us to peel OHA leaves. Remove this part from all the leaves. So growing up, this was the method I developed for peeling OHA leaves. You just pull by this and then gather them together and take out the stem. You have this left, so you drop it so it goes faster for you that way. Just pull off, gather together, and take out the stem part. So you do that for the rest of the OHA leaves. Now when you're peeling your OHA leaf, look out for the ones that are strong. We don't make OHA soup with strong OHA leaves. Your OHA leaf is supposed to be soft, that when you break it like this, you can barely hear the sound. But there are some that when you want to tear it, because we're going to be tearing this up for the soup, when you want to tear it, it seems strong to tear. Look at this, this is not strong at all. But those ones that seem strong to tear are not considered good for your OHA soup. So watch out for that, take note of that. So guys, my cocoyam is done. I'm going to just quickly pound it now. I'm using the original mortar and pestle to pound it because I want to make this dish the original way, no short corners. So I'm going to pound that now. I just put my meat on fire. I'm firstly going to cook a stuffer to cook. I'm going to quickly cook that with a pressure cooker before I season the rest of the meat. That's the cow meat and the bomo, and join that as well to cook. Some people actually make this soup with cocoyam powder. That can work as well, but the challenge now, or the tricky part now, is you might get a very terrible cocoyam powder and then the food won't thicken as it should. So if you can get your hand on original cocoyam, good and fine. If you can't get your hand on cocoyam, you can still use cocoyam powder, but just buy an extra in case the one you have, quantity you are intending to use won't serve. So you can actually put extra cocoyam powder, because I think you will need more cocoyam powder for this if you're not using the fresh fresh cocoyam. Yeah, so that's my tip. Go for fresh cocoyam if you can. If not, use cocoyam powder. You can as well use a blender. If you don't want to use the mortar and the pestle, you can as well use a blender to blend your cocoyam, or a food processor to blend your cocoyam. But the most important thing is that you use cocoyam for this dish.
So while pounding, my tip would be to pound them in batches, like in bits, so that you don't get overwhelmed, and also so that you can get a very soft cocoyam paste. So I'm going to add my meat now in a pot. The cow tripe is already well cooked. I'm going to just add it together with the meat, season it with my stock cubes, a little bit of salt, and let that cook till my meat is almost ready. Okay, so the meat has boiled a bit. I'm going to add my stockfish now. Cover that as well, let that cook. And while that is cooking, I'm going to be cutting up my OHA leaves. This is just basically tearing it up, but I'm using a knife, so just chop it very roughly and set that aside, and wash my Uziza leaf. Uziza leaf is always very dirty, comes very dirty, so you need to wash that properly before you chop that up in small sizes and set that aside as well. So my meat has boiled. I've added my dry fish at this point. This meat is soft and ready to for me to add the rest of the ingredients. So the water has dried up a bit. I'm going to be adding a little bit of water so I can get enough fluid for my soup. Add my ground pepper mix, and then stir that, let that cook for a little while before I add the rest of the ingredient. So at this point, you'll be adding your pounded cocoyam. Just add them in bits in different parts of the soup. So I'm going to just add that and leave it to cook for a little while so that the cocoyam can break up and thicken the soup. So guys, I'm going to be adding my red oil at this point. Yeah, I think this is the last of the ingredients to be adding besides the crayfish. Once you add that, now you're going to add your ogili. That's a smelly one. Once you add this, flies are literally going to be begging you to come into your house and enjoy that soup with you. So I'm going to just add my ogili and let that cook. This is what takes this soup, the flavor of this soup, to another level. Once you add your ogili, like your soup is done, like it's done.
So I've added everything I need to add except my crayfish. I've added oil, I've added ogili, I've added my cocoyam, I've added a little bit of salt to taste. So I'm going to quickly just add my crayfish and let everything come together before we can add our vegetables, and the soup is ready. So guys, at this point we're no longer going to cover the pot. Once you add your cocoyam, you're not going to cover the pot anymore. You're going to leave that open and let the cocoyam thicken the soup. The crayfish, the pepper, the ogili, everything will come together to give you the perfect OHA soup base before we add the vegetables, the OHA and the Uziza leaf. And once you add that, this soup is ready. So at this point, you're going to taste for pepper, taste for salt, taste for seasoning. Just adjust and then let everything cook till the cocoyam does its thing and brings the soup together, like thicken the soup and bring everything together. Yes, I'm going to let this cook for about 10 to 15 minutes and then come back and check if my soup is ready to receive the vegetables. Okay,
so guys, as you can see, the soup is almost there. The cocoyam is well incorporated, the soup is well thickened. Yeah, so at this point we are ready to add our vegetables. So firstly, we're going to be adding the Uziza leaves, the chopped Uziza leaves. We're going to add that firstly, stir, let that steam for a few seconds before we add the OHA leaves. Once you add your Uziza leaf, you can literally smell the flavor of OHA soup before you even add the OHA leaves. It smells amazing. So right now we're going to be adding the OHA leaves. We're going to add that, stir. Remember, we're not covering this pot again. Once you add the vegetables, your soup is done and ready to be served. Just look at that soup. Take a look at that soup. This was so yummy, guys. Just make your eba or make your pounded yam, your semo, whatever it is you're going to have with this soup, get that ready at this point. Your soup is ready. I had this with oatmeal and it was so delicious. I had a good time. Yeah guys, so that's how you make your OHA soup from scratch. Please guys, try this recipe and let me know what you think if you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in my next video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Bye.